Alrighty, so good morning, everyone. Hopefully, you guys had a good weekend. I wasn't here to trade the mornings, just came back around 10 minutes ago to look at what's going on. And these are the top 3 stocks that I see for today. So, number 1, I would say, is YECO. Number 2 is NIO. And then number 3, AKER. AKER, I don't really like too much. It would have been a good bounce play off of $2. But let's just get into YECO first. So YECO, first of all, is a very low float, 1.09 million shares. They have news today. They signed an agreement to acquire Michelangelo's masterpiece called Crucifixion. And if you guys know anything about YECO, is that it has lots of history of, exploding. It's had many spikes in the past. People are familiar with it. And today, you can see it had a very nice morning spike from $5 up to $7.50, and that's where it set the main resistance. So main resistance right now on YECO is this $7.50 line. It pulled back, and look where it bounced. Previous resistance right here became support. Bounced right there perfectly. Held that area for like 30 minutes. It tested it 3-4 times. Bounced perfectly each time off of there. Goes through VWAP. That's very bullish because you can see here it was holding as resistance. And then we get the break over VWAP. And then the bounce off of VWAP is also a very good sign. So, like, as far as understanding where to play these things, of course, number 1 best play would be to just buy the previous resistance. Once you notice the support here in the 620s, 630s, you start adding your size there. Not all at once, but just start buying there. Number 2 is you could buy when it retests and holds VWAP. So the main thing is that you don't want to buy in strength. You don't want to buy when it's breaking over 657. You want to buy when it comes back and retests. Insider ownership on YECO is 55%. It's not significant, like, in terms of float, because the float value, the insider ownership is taken out, like, beforehand, and insiders they have to, like, jump through lots of hoops to, like, trade their shares. They have to have different filings. They have to, like, lots of stuff has to happen, and insider ownership isn't too big of a deal. Now, if it was the institutional, then that is a different story, and that does matter. So let me just bring up Finges real quick. Yeah, no, the institutions own, like, less than 1%. Like, they own barely nothing of YECO, so that's fine. Okay, and then you can see YECO, it had this huge jump in volume right here, but it got stuffed super hard at 750. So what does that mean? Why did it get stuffed right there? Well, I mean, one thing that we can assume is that lots of shorts saw this obvious line on YECO, and they just left all their orders above, this area. And then when it squeezed up there were just too many people that are ready to slam it back down, and the buyers couldn't, take it over. Let me just clean this chart up. There's too many lines. And you can see, if we switch over to the line chart, very clear resistance here at 750. So lots of shorts saw that line. Lots of longs who bought this dip saw that line, and they said, you know what, once it gets up to here, I'm gonna sell, I'm gonna short. And all those people selling, all those people shorting, it was just too much pressure, and it couldn't do it, you know. It got slammed right back down, and looks like right now it's breaking under VWAP. So doesn't look like we're gonna get the last like hit, and it doesn't look like this is gonna break out at this point. Of course, it's still early in the day, anything can happen, but I mean, what we really wanted to happen was to kind of make this cup and handle. So it did this, holds VWAP, and then breaks out. That's the ideal situation that would happen there. And right now it's breaking down under VWAP, no longer holding as support. So who knows what YECO will do. But I mean, this is what is like the #1 breakout to buy, this huge cup and handle, and that's what I was waiting for. So I didn't trade YECO, and it doesn't look like I am going to trade YECO. So that covers YECO. Like I said, they had news. You can read through this news. Next up, NIO. So let me just switch over to this chart. So NIO, this is one that we've traded many times in the past. This has a larger float, so you have to understand it's not going to move as volatile as YECO. Just like look at these charts. Like this went from 5 to 750. This went from 750 to 812. So you can just tell when a stock has a larger float, it is not going to move as easily, just because there's a huge amount of trading volume happening, and you need a lot of people buying to move the stock, just because there's like a ton of stock available. So NIO, the float is 160 million, and institutions own 21% of it, which is still, you know, a massive amount of the shares overall. That's like 132 million shares in the float, when YECO has 1 million shares. So very, very, very big difference. But that doesn't mean that you can't, you know, trade it well. This one had lots of volatility here in the morning, and then you can see on this one morning spike, it hit a high of 790s, pulled back, bounced 750, and then nice clean breakout over 790 right there, up to 820. Not a really big move. I did expect it to go a lot higher. That's only like a 3.9% move. So I mean, the main thing with NIO is that you can only really trade it when you have a big margin account, because then you can trade it multiple times. If you have a cash account and you have, you know, like $3,000 to your name, you're not going to really be able to benefit off of a stock like this. You need to focus more on YECO and these low floats. But as far as NIO goes, you can see the chart's pretty clean. It's been holding 790 previous resistance. So as long as that holds, you know, technically we should be able to go higher. Next resistance on the chart is 838, and I got that from right here, this area, on like last month on the 15th and 18th. And then last but not least, AKER. So AKER had a massive gap up, it seems like. I'm not really too sure. So the news says that they're looking to merge their business with a weed company. They're looking for a cannabis company to merge with. And so this news right here, this is the #1. There can be no assurance that the exploration of strategic alternatives will result in any transaction or other alternative. So this news, I don't know why people reacted to it so heavily, but it's just saying that, hey, yeah, we're looking to merge However, there's nothing final, there's nothing like concrete yet. And then this just exploded. And if you look at this, not even 3 days ago they had really bad earnings. So it just seems like a way to save face, and people bought it up. So this one squeezed like hell in pre-market, especially. Now, mind you, this is pre-market, right? Whenever a spike happens in pre-market, the volume is so little, just because most people are not able to trade pre-market, and most people don't want to trade pre-market. And what's the thing that we usually see? When a stock has a strong run in pre-market, it will likely sell off in the first hour or so. You can see AKER. Oh, wait, this is the same. Never mind. I was going to say, look, this one did the same thing, but they're the same stock. When you have a huge pre-market spike, there tends to be a massive sell-off. And now, why is that? Well, if you look at the daily chart, you know, just on Friday, this was $1.22. And imagine everyone who is, you know, bag holding this like hell, and they're down a ton of money, and they wake up today saying, oh my gosh, AKER is at $3, get me the hell out. Everyone's going to be selling, and no one's going to really be buying because the news isn't that great. And that just causes a lot of resistance up here, and everyone starts to sell and pummel it back down. The only time that buyers are going to come in is when it reapproaches this previous resistance, which should be now support, and that's the only reason why it bounced here. But of course, because it's so heavy and there's so much resistance, it couldn't even retest VWAP. So overall, AKER is pretty weak. I really don't expect this to retest above 250. Alright, so that's my quick little analysis for the 3 stocks I see today. You guys have any questions? Please let me know now. And if not, then I hope that means I covered any questions you guys did have. But you can see one thing that I'm kind of starting to transition towards is that, you know, if we look at stocks like YECO and AKER, they always have this pullback, and then right after like 11, they start to, you know, regain traction. They hold the previous resistance, and then they, you know, recurl up. So I've really just been moving my trading day down a bit, mainly because I really want to capitalize on, 1, buying these bounces, and 2, if it does happen, buying these huge cup and handles. I mean, if you think about it, there's no way you can have a huge cup and handle like this happen in the first half hour. It can't, because the chart has to develop. It has to make that obvious resistance. It has to trap those shorts, you know. And right now, it seems like to me the morning is so dominated by shorts that it's just not worth it for me to play right at market open. Now I'm still watching it, of course, like taking tabs. However, I really don't want to trade until at least after 11 o'clock, maybe after 10:30, just because that's how the stocks are playing right now. And, you know, maybe this will change tomorrow. Maybe we'll have a new market, like to where right when the market opens, everything just explodes right in the morning and keeps going. And we've seen that before. That happened, I think, last year in November and December. We just had these morning spikes that just, you know, they ran immediately with, you know, like no end in sight. But now we're not seeing that. Now we're seeing lots of these moves in the morning where they're just getting, you know, killed on shorts. Alright, so that's just my quick little analysis there. I'll leave up the webinar for you guys, and you guys can use these scanners and such. I don't think I'm going to place any trades today. The main trade I wanted to place was breakout of 750. But now that that's not coming, I don't really want to mess with AKER just because of, you know, how many bag holders there are. Just a very ugly daily chart in my opinion. And NIO, not enough range for me. So if anything, save my money for tomorrow, and then hey, if we get, you know, like a nice clean breakout, I can use even more money towards it. All right, so if you guys have any questions at all, feel free to drop them down in the chat. You can message me, you can message My Daily Gains, you can message anyone if you have trading questions, and I'm sure anyone will be happy to help you out. And yeah, so hopefully you guys enjoyed this, and I'll see you in chat.